Hey, welcome to another episode of the Manaverse Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Traplin, and this is the podcast where we do talk about building a successful, friendly local game store. We've got a special update episode this time around. So, about 11 months ago, I did an interview with Alan Breakbro. He's the founder. He's the guy who started Hand Geek. And we're going to talk about what's new with Secondhand Geek. We're going to go into what's changed, where we're at right now, and the future of this platform and the marketplace, and what it means for local game stores and how you can use it as part of your business to sell more games, make more money, and hopefully build a thriving business that takes care of you and your family. So I have with me Blake Hawkey, one of the other founders of Secondhand Geek, and we're going to talk a little bit about all the cool things we've been working on. So thanks for joining me, Blake.
Oh, glad to be here.
When I originally interviewed Alan, I found him on the I believe it was the Tabletop Games Game Store Facebook group, and he was talking about this cool idea that he had way back in the heyday of 2003 or 23, and I just thought it was a really interesting idea, and I wanted to explore more about it. So I had him on the podcast, did an interview, and yeah, after talking with him for a while and kind of going back and forth, it felt like this was a really interesting idea. And seeing the marketplace firsthand and what he was working on, I decided that this was something that I wanted to help build and help participate in. So I'm actually also on the team now as one of the co-founders to get this thing off the ground and hopefully make it a real true competitor to places like TCGPlayer and eBay for game stores. So that's where we're coming at from the perspective of 12 months ago to today. Things have changed quite a bit, and things are really, really exciting, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's start with you. How did you get involved with this project? How did you come on board with this crazy idea?
Well, I got back into. I initially met Alan about 4 or 5 years ago because he owned a game store. Alan has a background in many things, and he had a game store which he sold. I was playing 40K. I moved over to Flames of War, and then somehow the warp kind of pulled me back in. I started playing 40K again, and I've been fairly active in the tournament scene, going to some of the big tournaments. I went to Las Vegas and Cherokee, and that's kind of a fun thing. Getting ready for a tournament, I noticed that Alan was playing again. We played over at my house. I asked him, what have you been up to? And he told me what he'd been up to. One of the things was Secondhand Geek. I'm currently retired, and I thought, wow, what a cool thing. I would love to get involved. And Alan said, great, let's do it. And so now I'm unretired, and I'm working on Secondhand Geek, and it's just real exciting. I think for me, the first thing is it's the first job I've ever had where I'm actually doing something that I have a true passion about. I've been playing war games since before I knew they were war games as a little kid. And there's a little bit of a altruistic side to this because we really genuinely, at the bottom of our heart, want this to be something that's really good for players of all games and businesses. I have a background in business. Alan does. And we want this to be a real good fit for everybody. And we're building it that way. We've gone through a few changes to try to navigate that and build it the way people want us to build it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's gone through quite a few iterations. So let's back it up a bit and give people an idea as to what Secondhand Geek actually is. For people who didn't see the first interview and have never heard about it and have no idea what we're talking about, what is Secondhand Geek?
Well, first way to think about it is we're an eBay style marketplace for used games, new games, miniatures, anything that you can think of that's in the genre of being a geek. We are trying to get a hold of. Primarily, we're starting with Warhammer 40K. That's very popularly traded. The secondary market is very, very active, 40K. But there's all kinds of miniatures, terrain, all the widgets. So that's the marketplace part of it. The thing that is great about the marketplace is for the players, we try to be less expensive for the buying and trading. The fee that we charge is a third of the fee that eBay will charge. So the player's making more money on his used items. On the other hand, we want to tie in and reward stores for everything they do for the community. Many stores, most even, have an area of retail space that they're probably not making very much money on, except for maybe tournaments in their back room, letting people play. So we want to, and Alan has owned stores. What we want to do with each portion of that sale, the fee that we charge, we're giving a full 20% of that back to the local game store. The way that we do that is when one of your customers is looking for an item, maybe you sell it, or maybe you don't sell it. If they sign up with Secondhand Geek through your store code, whatever they sell, whatever fee we collect for anything they do on the website, the store is going to get 20% of that. The store code that they sign up with creates a linked account basically to you, and you get a percentage in perpetuity. After you've made your money on your store and you're going into retirement, you'll still be getting a check from Secondhand Geek, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the more unique features, because obviously no one's getting a community-based revenue share from eBay, right? No one's being provided in that sort of way, and the other marketplaces are out there to kind of take all of that away, right? That's all theirs. And part of the core of what makes Secondhand Geek different is that we are very community focused, right? Like pretty much everybody on the team is either a former store owner or has been deeply involved in the community in some way, which is why, like you mentioned, that we're focusing on 40K and the miniature war games, and that's one of the most active markets at the moment. But we're growing into like it's also a place for trading card games and role playing games and books and like other models and all sorts of other tabletop geek culture paraphernalia stuff.
Not only that, but we are also going to have content on there. What's new in the gaming industry? What's a new strategy? There's Goonhammer, which you may be familiar with, as a content provider. And they've got an article that they run on Secondhand Geek. So we want to be a lot more than just a place to buy and sell. We want to be a mecca for just about everything there is in our industry. We also have some tools, one of which I'm real excited about is the collection feature that is integral into the site, where you can put your inventory of what you own in a easy to use collection feature and keep up with it as inventory, but also look at what the market value is. I have an army of custodes. How much is that value worth in the current marketplace? And we want to have some of that functionality on there that someone would use in and of itself. They might buy, sell, but that's a cool thing to look at. They might come to us for the content, for the how-to videos. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, hopefully in the future as we grow, we're hoping to make it into more of a community hub with beyond just the marketplace, the excellent marketplace as it is, but really incorporate everything, hopefully for a variety of nerdy, geeky culture stuff. Kind of have everything all under one roof if we can manage it. Yeah. I think one of the sticking points that I've seen was talking about this revenue share feature, and that's something I wanted to kind of break down a little bit, because I've seen a lot of store owners ask questions about, how does that work? Like, how does that actually function? And you mentioned the affiliate code and all of that, but also, the why, right? Like it's funny because a lot of store owners express this disbelief that another platform would even bother doing this, would even think about contributing to their business in that way. So I feel like that's one of the things that really sets us apart, right? That's one of the things that is completely different. And I think the disbelief is part of that, is because that it is such an odd thing or such an unusual feature to have.
Well, Alan, the original idea, think of him as a little bit of a rich uncle who has that he's always loved and wants to give back. So there's that aspect of it. It's also true from a strictly business point of view that customer acquisition, bringing customers to this platform, it can be very expensive. So you can almost think of the 20% of every fee that we collect as a referral fee. We go through the stores. Stores tell their customer base. Customer base buys items on the site. The store may or may not have their own eBay store or their own online store, which could be migrated over to Secondhand Geek. So there's definitely that ability, but it's basically a way for us to recruit customers and reward the store for putting the word out.
Yeah.
So it is altruistic. I think of it that way, but maybe there's some other, there is a profit motivation in everything we do, but it's synergistic. Everybody should benefit.
Yeah, I feel like it's much more of a win-win scenario than the way other businesses do things. But yeah, so I think that's a really good way to put it. So where are we now? Like, let's talk about that. It's been months, long time coming since we've officially launched.
Right.
Yeah, where does the marketplace sit at the moment?
We have we have over 500 accounts, and we are coming above. It's chicken and egg. You have to have the customer to buy. You have to have the inventory to buy. So it's a mutual thing to grow. But we're coming over the 100 transaction and 500 accounts. And in reality, that may not sound like much growth, but for really about the last 3-4 months since I've gotten very active with it, what we wanted to do is build out more functionality. We wanted to have more meat on the bone for anyone that comes on the site, so they get a great first impression. So we backed off a little bit on the marketing side until we had built it out a little bit more. So we expect with some of the new features, especially the collection feature I want to talk about, that we expect a lot more growth here in the immediate future.
Yeah. Like you said, in the last few months, it's started to really kind of accelerate, and we're gaining about 20 to 40 new users every single week, which is a pretty decent pace, which again is also increasing as we go forward. So as that number grows, the network effect will start to kick in. Right. And the more people, the more inventory, the more people, the more inventory, and then it starts to just snowball from there. So hopefully about 12 months from now, we'll be doing this again, doing another update, and we'll have 40,000 members on the website.
Exactly.
That'll be a milestone for sure. That
it's one of those things. Let me get in front of the camera here. The curve is like this, and then it goes up. The logarithmic curve is what we're looking for. Going.
Exactly. So we're growing, we're moving, we're making some moves. Tell me a little bit more about the features that we've been building. So one of the things that we've been focusing on for the last few months, I would say, is this collection feature and making it more useful for the users and that sort of thing. So what does this look like?
There are this is a multifaceted question, but it's really, really exciting. There's the eBays of the world. There's the Facebook marketplaces of the world. eBay is very expensive for you. Facebook Marketplace is so cumbersome to actually use. So we want to address both those things. Our search function is much more detailed and much more targeted to what a miniature buyer is looking for, what a card buyer is looking for in each of these various markets. We are geeks ourselves, so we know what geeks are looking for. One of the things, and this is a little bit preface, one of the things that makes us unique is we've developed a paint standard. What is tournament minimum for a miniature paint job? What is tabletop standard? What is showcase? We have an artist who's currently working on some products, so we will be able to show with pictures, this is minimum, this is tabletop, et cetera, and he's taking my Marnius Calgar model and painting it at each one of those stages, so you can see when I sell this product, it meets this standard. So that's a important differentiating feature. There's another thing that happens
setting standards for the models. That's sorry to interrupt. Setting standards is one of the more complicated things when you're selling secondhand models, right? Like that's one of the more unique things compared to, say, selling Magic cards, right? So a lot of the stores that I talk to, they're card focused. Like that's a big, Magic is a massive component to a lot of game stores' business models, and the way that cards are sold, or the way that Magic is done, is that each card is fungible. They're basically the exact same. The foil version of one card is the exact same of the same foil version, right? So there's no real difference in terms of how you price stuff. There's a commoditization of that product. But with models, it's really difficult to kind of get that sort of thing going, right? You've got the stuff that's in the box. It's all basically standardized. It's all exactly the same as nuance sprue. It's all still kind of the same. But as soon as you start assembling it, that's when there's a major difference between somebody who has, really has a lot of experience putting the model together and, really doing the refined edges and making sure the glue and all that stuff, right? So the actual components of construction is very individualized, but then the paint standard can vary like an insane amount, right? Like it's essentially infinite. So you can have somebody who has, very medium to mediocre paint skills, and you have to, how do you value a model that has been painted meh, like kind of lame. Right. But then also, how do you value a model that has been painted to an insanely professional degree, right? Like how much do you value that? And just having, like you said, the standard, okay, here's what this means. Like this kind of a paint skill is this level of paint standard. I think that's something that I think will change the perception of the way the market is done. And that's something that's pretty interesting too, is that as we go on, that'll change the way the markets perceive things.
Right. And we actually have commissioned painters on the site offering their services. If you sell someone a product in your store and they're like, how do I paint this thing? One option is to go on Hand Geek, get it painted by someone to a itemized standard that is common across the website, and you're getting 20% of the fee of that item too. So there's the paint standard, I think, is a really neat thing that people can see the value of all those standards and get standardized, so they get paid for what their item is worth, and they know exactly what they're buying when they purchase something. So there's that feature. Another thing that is common in the miniature gaming is maybe I have armies that I don't play. Maybe I've got armies that are new in the box that are, if you're familiar with the term, my pile of shame, things that I bought that I haven't painted up. You go on Instagram, it's shocking what people's pile of shame is. Sometimes it's a full closet of new product. It's also the case that how many times have someone said, I need a Sanguinius Blood Angels model, and guess what? It's sold out on eBay. It's sold on Amazon. GW doesn't have it. But I guarantee you that model is in somebody's pile of shame or somebody's collection. So as we bring on accounts and the collection feature is kind of cool, it's very easy to put models into your collection and then mark what the standard is. Oh, I got this one's painted, this one is in the box, this one is assembled, and you can look and say, okay, well, this is how much work I have to do on this. Creating, we've just recently started working with New Recruit, which they use, if you're familiar with BattleScribe, is a list creation tool. New Recruit is the same thing, but they have some different functionality, and they are web-based. All the data that they use to create that list for your miniature wargame tournament in the store comes off of publicly maintained sites. For every game you can think of, games I've never heard of. If you go on New Recruit and you create that list, but you create it for everything you own in a certain army, You can then export that. New Recruit is creating a feature where you can export it, and it dumps it straight in to your collection on Secondhand Geek. So now, in a few keystrokes, I have everything I own on Secondhand Geek. I can look at that, and I can find out what the market value is. And me personally, I have a fully painted Imperial Knights army I have never put on the table. I'm probably not going to go the trouble of itemizing that and putting it on eBay. It's just too much trouble for me personally. But it will be in my collection, and I could just go, you know what? This is not, I'm gonna sell this stuff. So I just tick a box for all those models and hit go, and boom, it's all listed now. Now I'll have to go in on the back end and take some pictures and put the pictures on there, but the listings have been created. And here's the truly unique feature that I think is miniature players are going to love. There's that Imperial Knights army. I'm not really interested in selling it, but if I leave it as that I will accept offers, there's 3 levels of a collection. It's private. This is my stuff. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to list it. That's able to do that. But in the middle is, you know what? If I heard a good enough offer, I'd probably sell it to you. So if I list it in that category and a customer, account holder on Secondhand Geek searches for that item, I'll get a notification that says, hey, somebody's looking for this item. And I can very easily then sell that. So all those times that GW sold out, a person on Secondhand Geek has the ability to search the closet of every miniature wargamer that has an account, find the item, and have access to it. And I just think that's going to be a really terrific feature and way to bring product through and wait for a store to satisfy its customers. They got an army they want to use for a tournament. They're missing a model. They can't find it, but the store comes through and says, hey, look on Secondhand Geek. You get a portion of the fee. They get their model. They're a more dedicated miniature player for your store.
Yeah, it could also be a sourcing option too, as well as the marketplace grows and as the more people use the collection feature and have more of their inventory randomly listed on the site, the more in depth the inventory gets. It could become a place where if somebody comes to you as the store owner, be like, I'm looking for this particular model. Do you have it? Like, it's out of stock. We can't get these in anymore. They're gone. But let me, maybe I can find this for you, right? Maybe you can bring this in. That could be an additional service. Theoretically, you could have that where you could, search the accepting offers, look for that particular model, and then you found a few listings. All right, what number would make sense for you? Throw it out there and say, would you be interested in shipping this thing out for X number of dollars so I can, provide it as an in-store option and potentially fulfill items that you just cannot find anywhere else, right? That are just gone from wholesalers and distributors and that sort of thing. So as we grow, that could be like a whole other potential benefit for stores is using it as an option, not just to sell, but also to bring in items and satisfy their local community demand for certain things.
That's, from the store perspective, that's an even better idea.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and I think one of the things that we are working on, in addition to fleshing out this collection feature and building out all of these nice user-focused features, we also want to incorporate things like additional payment methods. So right now we're Stripe-based. We want to incorporate PayPal as another payment option. We want to make it so that there are more ways for people to transact that are safe and comfortable. And then the other thing that I'm excited for store owners is hopefully we get the Shopify integration lined up. So we mentioned how we're working with New Recruit to make it so that anyone who has models in their collection, you can use their list builder to essentially create everything that you have or whatever armies that you want to build. And then you'll be able to very easily upload it into Secondhand Geek. On the store side of things, Shopify would essentially function in a similar way, right? If you have a Shopify store, you'll be able to, again, in the future feature we're working on, you'll be able to have,
we think
you'll be able to basically just click a button and have a certain collection or product lines or whatever you want. You could have the entire store listed on Secondhand Geek if that's what we really felt like, right? You could have all of your inventory and all of the product images and all the descriptions. All of that would automatically just sync up to the marketplace, and there would be no worry for inventory tracking and all of that stuff. The same way that you could plug things into with certain Shopify themes into things like TCGPlayer. So like I feel like that will make that'll make store owners very happy once we can get that project completed and get that online. So like those are some of the big things that we're working towards in the future, in addition to just making it more robust, making the search more effective, and then that sort of thing. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming down the road, I would say, for Secondhand Geek.
Every time I think about a new functionality that a player might want, we talk about it, add it in, and we're open to that feedback from stores. That's this. I hope this podcast reaches out to stores, and someone has an idea for something that we haven't thought of, and we would love to hear it. We want to be considered the Amazon. Amazon sells you everything from books to items to movies, and we want to get our hands into everything for the customer benefit that touches the hobby. So we're open to total.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts about working with a startup and getting in on the ground floor, and that's what we want. We want stores to get involved, but if we're here for you, right? We want to know what kind of a platform would you want this to be? What kind of features would you want to see? What would make the Secondhand Geek marketplace invaluable to you as a store owner? Let us know, and maybe we can add that to the roadmap, and maybe that can be something that we build into the marketplace. Like, we're flexible, we are adaptable, we are open to ideas, and we want to know exactly what our customers want so that we can make the best product market fit that we can, right? So yeah, we if you do want to get a hold of us, we are pretty easily reachable. We have a Discord server that you can join and join the conversation, put in some feature requests, or you can reach out to us directly and let us know what you're thinking in terms of what you want it to be.
Maybe a good thing to talk about is, what is the process for a store to get signed up, and then how do they communicate it to their customer base and facilitate their customer base signing up?
Sure, that sounds like a good idea. So like the way that it would work right now is, the account is free. There's no charge, there's no fee, there's no membership or anything like that. To sign up, you can create an account right now by going to secondhandgeek.com. And sign up as a local game store. There's a drop-down menu for that, so that you can indicate that you are a game store. That's how you get access to your referral code. When you sign up, the very first thing you'll need to do is to plug in your Stripe account in order to actually do transactions. So that'll be like the very next step, is you have to go through that and plug all that in. But once you've got your account built, you've got your username, you've got your banking and payment information all plugged in, then all you have to do is add your inventory.
And marketing it to your customer base is, of course, word of mouth. We can also generate a QR code for your store that someone can take a picture of and then go through that process of signing up. And that is also a connected code that they're signing up with your store. They don't even, you might tell them that your account's connected to me. If you don't, that's okay. It doesn't matter. They're paying the same fee, and you're getting the same percentage of that fee. That's one of the things when I really start diving into this, having owned other businesses, I wanted the store to be able to be very secure, in that if I talk about Secondhand Geek and that person creates an account, they're my customer. I wanted that to be something that's hard and fast. So we have matriculated from a person signing up and saying, I go to ABC store in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we would add that in by hand. Now it's a hard straight through. When they use your QR code, or you give them the code there in the store. And we can add you can add a area on maybe your own Discord, market to your customers, however you market to your customers. Through all the communication ways, we have some marketing tools for you. If you have a local tournament, we have some little products to hand out and some things like that to raise awareness. And you're marketing your store just like any other way.
Yeah, the vision for it, recruiting customers, or at least from the game store's perspective, is like you described. You log in and you have a referral link that's under your account. You can easily take that link and then add it as a thing to your website. You can put it on your Facebook. You put it wherever you feel like it, right? And anyone who clicks through that link to then sign up for their own Secondhand Geek account will automatically and forever be linked to your store account. And transactions that they process, things that they buy, like you said, 20% of the fee will automatically accrue to your account and be paid out when those transactions conclude. So the idea is you can promote Secondhand Geek, and that whole process is automatically taken care of. There's no follow-up. You don't need to do anything to wrap it up. You don't have to interact with the customer even. Like, it just happens as part of the natural process of the buying and selling on the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And like you said, for the stores, we'll also be providing additional marketing materials. So you could download flyers. You can get a Secondhand Geek table talker that you could plug in. You could just throw onto one of your tables that has the QR code that would make it very easy for your customers to just scan it with their phone. And then when they do sign up, they don't have to type in your name. There's no code. There's nothing like that. It's all built into the structure of the link so that everything's handled automatically. We want the whole process to be smooth and easy, and we want users to have a great experience, and we want stores to have a great experience with it too. So we want to make it so that it's easy as possible for stores to get online, and then for you as the store owner to get your customers on the platform as well, so you can start earning a portion of this activity that's already happening within your community. Just, you don't really get a chance to benefit from it right now.
Right. And it's the real power is if your store has an online presence on Secondhand Geek. You're selling your items on Secondhand Geek, obviously, and selling them to a wider audience, the World Wide Web, etc. But then there'll be functionality, and there will be a way for you to talk about Secondhand Geek to your customers that fits you, whether it be terrain or paintbrushes or commission painting, the things that you don't sell that your customers buy. That's what you talk about. When you hear someone talk about that, you go, hey, use your account on Secondhand Geek. What's Secondhand Geek? Oh, well, here's your account. Boom. Access to that. So it should be a tool for you to add business to your store. And who doesn't want an extra profit margin, especially on things that are no trouble with, that you don't even have to carry as inventory.
Yeah, so we're trying to create as much of a win-win-win-win situation as we can. We want everyone to benefit from the existence of this marketplace. We want to make it easier for nerds and geeks like us to be able to find the things that we're looking for in the first place, while also saving more of our own money, right? And not giving it to the gigantic mega conglomerate businesses that are not particularly beholden to us as users. I don't know if anyone's ever had any trouble with trying to get an answer from eBay, or trying to get an answer from somebody at TCGPlayer in regards to the way things are done, or something that might have happened. It's not easy getting any sort of real resolution to something like that. Whereas we're here for you guys, right? We want to be involved, and we want to be responsive, and we want to be there in case something happens, or in case you have questions or just thoughts, right? The benefit of working with us is that we are providing more of a direct contact approach. Yeah, we want to be the one-stop shop kind of place for everything that nerds and geeks need.
Right. Absolutely. I'm very excited about it. We really are on our way. The website's come a very long way in the last 3 months. The website is almost unrecognizable now to what it was 3 months ago. It's really, really starting to be something. Very excited about new recruit, exports to, you've probably heard of Tabletop Simulator as a way to play miniatures and other games on a virtual tabletop. So New Recruit is there. They are also trying to build a lot of functionality, and our partnership with them, I think, is going to really build the collection feature, which will drive sales for your store.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's a massive changes coming down the line. We've come very far. Very excited to see where this goes over the next 6 to 12 months. If you're interested, if this sounds cool, if Secondhand Geek sounds like, this is something I want to try out, we want to help you get online. So if you want to talk to one of us, you can definitely reach out to us. We'll include links and stuff in the show notes and in the notes underneath the video and on the website and all that. You can create an account on Secondhand Geek right now. If you go to secondhandgeek.com, sign up for your account, you can get everything rolling, and then you can use our bulk upload feature as it is to get inventory online in as little as like 10 minutes from now.
Take the section of your store that is not seeing a lot of movement, put it on there. It gives you access to a much wider customer base. There's a million ways you can think about using it as a tool, and anything you don't find on there, give us a call. That's what we want to hear about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So any closing thoughts? Anything you want the listeners to think about with regards to Secondhand Geek?
I would say our number one message is really the thing that drives everything I do and yourself does, is we want it to be good for players, gamers of every sort. That's where we're coming from. Everything I've added on to Secondhand Geek and said we really need to do this is because I would use it as a player. I'm an active player. So that is the crux of everything that we're doing with Secondhand Geek.
I think that's a really good note to wrap things up on. So I think that's where we'll call this an episode. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to us. Links will be all in the show notes. Thank you very much, Blake, for making the time today to have this chat with me and spread the message about Secondhand Geek and what we're working on.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's I enjoy talking about Secondhand Geek. It's just super cool.